Here, question number 47. Two particles of mass m1 and m2 are connected by a massless thread of length L as shown in the figure below. One mass is above the horizontal plane, the another mass is vertically connected through the wire to the mass m1 of length L. The particle of mass m1 on the plane undergoes a circular motion with radius r0 and angular momentum L. When a small radial displacement epsilon naught is applied, then its radial coordinate is found to be oscillate about r naught. The frequency of the oscillation, what is the thing we are going to discuss in detail now.
First, we need to draw the given diagram. There is a plane. Above the plane, there is one particle of mass m1. It is rotating on the table. Then there is a thread connecting the mass m1 as well as the one suspended mass m2. The thread length is L. So the radial coordinate from the center of the hole is for the mass m1 is r. If the thread length is L, then the coordinate of the m2 from the center of the hole is it is equal to L minus r. It's a vertical coordinate, so you can call the horizontal coordinate in general r for the mass m1. Vertical coordinate for the mass m2 is L minus r. So it is rotating with some constant angular velocity. So right now we are not taking it is constant. We will see what would happen. So first we need to find the Lagrangian for the system. So Lagrangian in general, it is represented by the Lagrangian equal to kinetic energy minus potential energy. We need to find what is the T of the system, V of the system. So the kinetic energy is due to the motion of the m1 along the radial direction as well as the angular direction. The rotational kinetic energy it is having. Then another kinetic energy of the mass m2, it's moving vertically up and down. So that is L minus depend on the coordinate as well as the velocity. So kinetic energy of the system that should be equal to of m1, the for mass particle m1. It's suppose if you are taking this as a in the plane axis or y-axis, this is a x-axis, then this is a z-axis, the whole axis. So you can call the mass m1 experience at the x dot square plus y dot square. This is the kinetic energy on the plane plus as well as the mass is moving along the radial coordinate because it is getting displaced by the amount the epsilon it is given in the problem. So this epsilon along the radial direction, this epsilon is much less than the or not the angular the radial coordinate from the center. It is oscillating about the r naught. So that's why I am putting here the radial coordinate is in general r, it is not constant or not. So it is making the simple harmonic motion about the r naught. That means the small particle is moving about the r naught. Suppose if you are taking this coordinate is r naught from the center, it is making the movement along the radial direction. So that radial velocity due to the radial motion, the kinetic energy of the particle mass m1 is equal to half m1 r dot square. This is the kinetic energy of the first particle plus the kinetic energy of the second particle in general of m2 z dot square. It is moving along the z direction. Suppose we are taking this is a z axis, so it's moving along the z direction only. But we know what is a z equal to, that is L minus r from the center. So then z naught would be equal to minus r dot because L is constant. If you're taking the derivative with respect to time, that means the velocity along the z direction, it is dz by dt, this is not equal to r naught. Hence the kinetic energy of the system is equal to of m1 x dot square y dot square plus of m1 r dot square plus is not equal to minus r naught. If you are taking the square, it will be plus. So of m2 r dot square. So here we want to simplify what is a x dot y dot. Suppose think this is making as a while rotational motion if it is making theta. So you can in general call the x equal to the projection angle along the z direction, it is r cos theta. So r cos theta, y equal to r sin theta, because the plane with respect to y-axis, so if it is making the theta, the projection angle along the x is r, along the y direction is the vertical component of the one, it's r sin theta. In general, suppose if I'm projecting this circular motion, just think the circular motion only of the mass m2. If this is a x-axis, this is a y-axis, that's just we are looking above the plane. If the particle is moving in the circular motion, suppose if it is moving here m1 in the counterclockwise direction of mass m1 making angle theta, the radial coordinate is r, then you can call this projection angle along the x direction is r cos theta, the vertical component is r sin theta. Hence the x equal to r cos theta, the y equal to r sin theta you can define. So you can find what is a x naught. X naught means you got to define the taking the derivative, that means velocity of the x component of the particle, x component velocity, that should be equal to dx by dt. If you are finding, this should be equal to d by dt of r cos theta. Just using the differentiation by parts, keep the cos theta aside. So first, if you are taking derivative, it's r dot cos theta plus, or if you are taking derivative, it would be minus sin theta, then theta dot. First take the function, then the argument, then similarly y dot is equal to d by dt of the y coordinate or sin theta, that should be equal to, here if you are taking again using the differentiation by parts, it's a first r dot, keep the second one, then keep the first one. If you are taking derivative of the sin theta, it would be cos theta with respect to time, then theta dot. This is a x dot y dot. Now we can find what is a x dot square, y dot square. So we can do it aside. Here x dot square equal to, taking the square, r dot square cos square theta plus, here if you are taking the square, it's a r square theta dot square sin square theta, then 2ab, because it's a x dot square, you have to take the whole square, minus 2 r dot theta dot or sin theta times cos theta. This is a x dot square. If you are taking derivative of y dot square, if you are taking the square of this term, r dot square sin square theta plus, the second one is r square theta dot square cos square theta plus 2ab, because center sign is plus, so 2 r dot theta dot r sin theta cos theta. So you can find what is the sum of the x dot square y dot square, because we need the kinetic energy due to the circular motion, that is sum of the x dot square y dot square. If you are taking the sum, if you are summing these two, the first term having r dot square common, if you are taking r dot square, then cos square theta plus sin square theta, it's 1. Take the common r dot square theta dot square outside, sorry, r square theta dot square outside, then sin square theta cos square theta common, that summation is equal to 1. From the trigonometry, it's a minus, it is plus, you can cancel these two, there are no more term. So you can define the x dot square y dot square equal to r square plus r dot square plus r square theta dot square. Hence the kinetic energy of the system, that would be equal to of m1 r square plus r dot square plus r square theta dot square plus, here of m1, if you are taking the r dot square out, it would be m1 plus m2 r dot square. For the circular motion, suppose if it is moving in the circle, here we are considering the circular motion, that means the radius is constant if we are taking for the circular motion. So this r dot goes to 0. We can make that assumption because for the circular motion we are assuming that the radial coordinate is constant, there is no movement. So you can think it is r dot is in general it is 0, because we are finding it here the rotational kinetic energy. For the rotational kinetic energy of the motion, that means on the plane due to the mass particle m1, the r dot is 0, it goes to 0. Then in general for the, this is the rotational kinetic energy, so you can define the total kinetic energy of the system of m1 r square theta dot square plus of m1 plus m2 r dot square. This is the kinetic energy of the system. The first part represents the rotational kinetic energy of the mass particle m. The second one represents the kinetic energy of the mass m1 m2. Now we need to find the what is the potential energy of the system. Here the mass particle m1, it is not moving along the vertical direction, it is lying only on the plane. So the potential energy of the particle m1 is 0, but the mass m2 it's moving along the vertical direction. So the potential energy is in general it's a mgh. So potential energy of the system that will be equal to, due to the mass m2 g time the height is L minus r. This is the potential energy. Now we are ready to write the Lagrangian of the given system. So the Lagrangian is equal to the kinetic energy minus the potential energy. The kinetic energy is equal to of m1 plus m2 r dot square of m r square theta dot square. This is the kinetic energy of the whole system minus the potential energy m2 g L minus r. Now we are ready to write the what is the equation of the motion for the Lagrangian, because here it's there are two coordinate. We are writing the equation of motion because theta is a cyclic coordinate, it is independent of theta, so that means its angular momentum is conserved. So we are not going to write the equation of motion with respect to the theta. We are going to write the Lagrangian equation of motion with respect to the radial coordinate d by dt of that is equal to dou L by dou R naught minus dou L by dou R equal to 0. So we want to find what is the dou L by dou R naught, that is equal to dou L by dou R naught equal to, here only the first term is having R naught, so this goes to 0, this goes to 0, it would be equal to of m1 plus m2 to r naught. If you are taking the dou L by dou R naught, it will be equal to 2 r naught, 2 will get cancelled, it will be equal to m1 plus m2 times r naught. So this is a dou L by dou R naught. Now we need to find dou L by dou R, that would be equal to, the first term there is no r, 0, the second term there is r, so of m, if you are taking derivative of dou L by dou R, here r square, it will give 2r, so theta naught square, here also there is r, m2g, if you are taking dou L by dou R, it would be 0 minus dou R by dou R, it is 1, so this would be equal to of m 2 we can cancel, so m or theta dot square plus, because minus and minus plus, m2 g. This is a dou L by dou R. Now we can substitute in this equation of motion, so it will give d by dt of dou L by dou R naught is equal to m1 plus m2 r naught minus dou L by dou R is equal to m r theta dot square minus m2 g, it is equal to 0. Here there is one simple correction, because the second mass particle from the hole, it is downward, because there is a plane, mass particle m1 is rotating on the plane. We don't want that one. This length is L minus r. If we are taking this as a reference, hence it is minus L minus r. It's a, with respect to the minus z axis, we can call this coordinate is minus L minus r. So hence if you are taking this minus L minus r, this would be plus m2g L minus r. Once if this is plus m2g r, this is though L by though r not, it will give plus m2g. So then this would be plus into minus, it would be equal to minus. Once if it is, this is minus, then though minus though L by though r not, it will make this one is a plus. So this is a small correction we have to do. Now we are ready to, this is the equation of motion we are getting, the m2 plus m1 or double dot minus m or theta dot square m2g, that is has to be equal to 0. For the circular motion, the first condition we have to make, the case 1 for circular motion, we can call the r dot equal to 0, because that's for the circular motion r equal to r naught, that means radial coordinate is constant for the perfect circular motion, then the radial derivative is 0. From this equation of motion, the first term goes to 0. The second term you can write, it is minus m r naught theta dot square plus m2g, it's equal to 0. We know that the angular velocity also constant or not theta dot square. So this is actually it is m1, because m1, so I forgot to put m1, you need to put m1, hence r naught theta dot square equal to m2 by m1 g, or theta dot square is equal to m1 m2 by m1 divided by 1 by r naught into g. For the circular motion, we found what is the theta naught square. Now what we want to do, the angular momentum is constant even the particle m1 is displaced by the small amount. If you look at the diagram, we know that one, the particle is displaced along the radial coordinate, that displacement is equal to epsilon, that is much less than r naught. This is a given condition. So the angular momentum before the displacement, the angular momentum after the displacement, so angular momentum is conserved quantity, hence the angular momentum at r naught, then angular momentum at r, that means after displacement. So that would be equal to, we know the angular momentum m or theta square. Suppose if you are taking that at r naught, it's theta naught square. For the circular motion, perfect circular motion, the angular velocity is constant. This is for the mass. The same mass, the angular momentum is constant after getting displaced, r square theta dot square. Oh, it's not r square, r cross p, p equal to mv. So the angular momentum in general, you can represent r cross p. For the circular motion, r cross me, v equal to r omega. So r in r square omega, omega is nothing but theta naught. So m r square theta. So it's not r square, here it's not, it's r square only theta. Hence if you want to find the theta only, here actually it is this is a r square, there is no square here, here also it's a square, there is no square. So if you want to find a theta, just keep theta only one side, m1 m1 will cancel, here it's a r naught square divided by r square, then theta naught. This is the theta in general. Now we are ready to write the equation of motion. For then another condition we can apply, the r goes to the r naught plus epsilon, because we are radially displaced from the r naught, the equilibrium position. This is another quantity we need to take. Now we are ready to do this one. So now first we can rearrange this equation of motion. So we have the equation of motion m1 plus m2 r double dot. So m1 plus m2 r double dot minus m1 r theta naught square plus m2g is equal to 0. So m1 plus m2 r double dot minus m1 r, we know theta dot square, we know what is a theta. Here one small correction, this is r cross omega. Omega is nothing but m r cross theta dot. So you can call this is also theta dot, this is theta dot, theta dot, theta dot. Hence the theta dot square is equal to this square. So r naught square by r square theta naught dot whole square. So that would be equal to plus m2g equal to it's 0. We already derived the theta dot also. First we can rewrite this one, m1 plus m2 r double dot minus m1 r, here we have r naught power 4 r power, if you are taking the square it's a theta naught dot square plus m2g equal to 0. So we already derived that for the perfect circular motion, what is the theta naught square? It is m2 by m1 1 by r naught g. So if you are substitute here, it will give so m1 plus m2 r double dot minus m1 r naught power 4 r power 4 theta dot square is nothing but m2 by m1 divided by 1 by r naught into g. This is a theta naught plus m2g equal to 0. So you can cancel 1 r 1 r 1 r naught 1 r naught m1 m1. So the final equation of motion m1 plus m2 r double dot minus, here we have m2 then g, then inside we have r naught divided by r whole cube. If here only 1 r we are cancelling r naught also, so the cubic term will be the plus m2g equal to 0. But we are displacing along the radial direction by small amount epsilon. Here we have to make another condition, the epsilon is much less than r, only the slightly we are getting displaced, then it is making the angular frequency. For that we are changing the radial coordinate r equal to r naught plus epsilon in our equation. If I are taking the double derivative, because r naught is constant, it will give epsilon double dot. If you are taking the double derivative, because we have in our equation we have the double derivative of r naught. So with respect to time, if you are taking the r is constant, it will give epsilon double dot. If you are rearranging this equation, rewriting this equation in terms of epsilon, so it will give m1 plus m2. For r double dot, it will give epsilon double dot minus m2g. Here we have r naught cube, here we in denominator r cube, so instead of r we are going to put here r naught plus epsilon whole cube plus m2g equal to 0. So m1 plus m2 epsilon double dot minus m2g r naught cube. You can push the r naught plus epsilon whole cube numerator, then r naught plus epsilon, if you are pushing it numerator, it is minus cube plus m2g equal to 0. So m1 plus m2 epsilon double dot minus m2g r naught cube. If you are taking the r naught outside, it will give minus r naught minus power 3 1 plus that epsilon by r naught goes to denominator minus cube plus m2g, it goes to 0. Now what we want to do, m1 plus m2 epsilon double dot, because here r naught plus 3 r naught minus 3 r naught power 0, it goes to 1, so minus m2g. If you are just expanding, taking the binomial expansion for this term, 1 plus epsilon by r naught whole power minus 3, 1 minus 3 epsilon divided by r naught. There are some other term also will be there, but those quantities goes to approximately, we can take it 0, because we already assumed the epsilon is much less than r, hence the epsilon divided by r naught is much less than 1. So you can remove the, you neglect the cubic term, square term, everything. You can keep up to the first two term. So m2g is equal to 0. Hence m1 plus m2 epsilon double dot, if you are multiplying inside, that is m2g minus and minus plus 3 epsilon, actually epsilon by r naught, plus there is m2g equal to 0. You can cancel this m2g minus m2g, hence we have m1 plus m2 times epsilon double dot plus 3 by r naught epsilon equal to actually m2. If I multiply m2g, there is also m2g, so one more m2g here will be the second term, here also m2g equal to 0. You can rewrite in clear manner. So here m1 m2 epsilon double dot plus 3 m2g by r naught epsilon equal to 0. If you are dividing the whole equation by m1 plus m2, it will give epsilon double dot plus 3 by r naught g m2 divided by m1 plus m2 times epsilon equal to 0. This is looking like a simple harmonic motion. So if you are comparing with the simple harmonic equation, this term represents the omega naught square according to that simple harmonic motion. Hence the omega square, the angular frequency of oscillation, because it's a double derivative. Suppose we are taking this theta double dot omega naught square theta equal to 0, that is a simple harmonic motion of differential equation, that omega naught square is equal to 3g m2 r naught m1 plus m2. So if you are taking the square root on both sides, it will give omega equal to square root of 3 m2g r naught m1 plus m2. So this will be the answer.
So from the detailed analysis, we got the answer square root of 3m2g m1 plus m2 into r naught. So the option 4 is the right answer.